Hello everyone and welcome back. Let's dive straight into today's explainer because if you're watching this, you probably know this exact incredibly frustrating feeling. You've spent hours studying grammar, you've memorized those endless vocabulary lists, you can easily read an entire article in English silently without a single issue. But the absolute second a real live English conversation starts, your mind just goes completely blank. It's the worst, right? Well, stick around because today we're going to completely fix that.
So, why exactly do we freeze up like a deer in headlights? Really, it all comes down to the trap of passive language learning. You see, when you're just reading or listening, there's zero pressure. You're comfortable. But in real life, mistakes feel costly. Every single second of awkward silence feels like an hour, and suddenly, all those words you spent literally months learning just vanish into thin air. You're left standing there, scrambling, trying to desperately translate from your native language in your head. But hey, don't worry. Honestly, just understanding this exact pain point is step one to finally beating it.
To get you past this hurdle, we've put together a clear, actionable playbook to transform your passive vocabulary into confident spoken English in just 30 days. We'll be covering the speaking gap, why roleplay works, a super simple 15-minute daily routine, real-world scenarios, AI and 30-day challenges, and finally, we'll wrap up with your day one homework.
Let's start with Section 1, the speaking gap, passive learning versus active recall.
Think about the massive difference here. Passive learning, things like silent reading, memorizing vocabulary lists, watching videos, sure, that builds knowledge in your brain. It's comfortable. But real fluency? Fluency lives in your mouth. For that, you absolutely need active recall. This means speaking out loud, activating those words under real pressure, understanding the natural flow of a conversation, and, this is crucial, practicing mid-sentence repair. Because let's be real, you are going to mess up. When you do, you have to know how to fix it on the fly. Native speakers do this constantly without thinking, but language learners, we almost never train for it.
Moving right along to Section 2, why roleplay works, building muscle memory.
Listen, role-playing is basically the ultimate cheat code for spoken English. Why? Because it forces you to activate your vocabulary under simulated pressure. It actually trains your brain on the whole sequence of a conversation, from that initial friendly greeting all the way to a natural closing, so you don't just freeze halfway through. Plus, it creates this totally low-stakes, judgment-free environment. It's kind of like a flight simulator for your mouth. You can crash the plane a few times without anyone getting hurt. By the time you're flying for real, you've already built up that essential muscle memory.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 15-minute daily routine, bite-sized daily practice.
Check out how totally doable this is. Just 15 minutes a day. That's it. Step 1. Spend your first 3 minutes speaking super simple daily life sentences out loud. Literally just say things like, I'm making breakfast, or I'm opening the door. This physically warms up your vocal cords in English. Step 2, for minutes 4 to 7, is shadowing. Find a short audio clip of a native speaker and repeat after them, sentence by sentence. Really try to copy their rhythm and tone. Then, step 3, the meat of it. Minutes 8 to 15, dive into a role-play scenario. You can do this solo by playing both parts or practice with a partner. Doing this consistently every single day, it's going to give you unshakable confidence.
All right, Section 4, real-world scenarios, practicing what matters.
Imagine you run into a buddy you haven't seen in 6 months. Instead of freezing and giving that robotic textbook answer, the classic, I am fine, thank you, and you, practice using natural everyday phrases. Throw out a, wow, it's been forever, or ask, so, what have you been up to? This is the real casual English that actually helps you connect with human beings instead of making you sound like a walking grammar textbook.
Now let's step it up to high-pressure scenarios, like a job interview or introducing yourself professionally. The single biggest mistake people make here is just reciting their resume word for word or treating the prompt "tell me about yourself" like a medical wellness check. Don't do that. Instead, practice a crisp 60-second professional summary. And for those tricky behavioral questions, rely on the STAR method: situation, task, action, result. Rehearse the structure of your answer, not a script. If you memorize a script, you're going to sound super robotic, and the second they ask a surprise follow-up question, the whole thing falls apart.
Let's talk about networking events, which, let's be honest, can be absolutely terrifying, even for native speakers. When you walk up to someone, please do not immediately dive into, "Are you hiring?" It's way too aggressive and transactional. Start with simple, easy small talk. A fantastic opening line to practice is just, "So, what brings you here today?" Or maybe, "I'm in product management, what do you do?"
Practice these polite openers and the graceful exits too, so you never end up trapped in one of those brutally awkward silences.
So across all these situations, knowing what not to do is just as important. Let's quickly run through the most common traps non-native speakers fall into. First off, stop saying, "I want." It sounds incredibly blunt, almost like a demanding child. Always use polite requests like "I'd like" or "Could I have?" As we just talked about, definitely don't memorize interview answers word for word, and never just say "I'm fine" when someone asks you to tell them about yourself. And finally, stop pausing for 10 seconds to translate in your head. If you forget a word, don't panic. Just talk around it. Describe the thing you're trying to say. That is literally what fluent speakers do all the time.
On to Section 5. AI and 30-day challenges, your 24/7 conversation partners.
Okay, this is where modern tech completely changes the game. You no longer need to rely on a study buddy being available. You can use modern AI tutors to simulate totally unscripted, real-feeling conversations anytime you want. These AI tools are amazing. They can play literally any role. A grumpy barista, a tough hiring manager, a helpful hotel clerk, and they give you instant feedback on your grammar with absolutely zero social pressure or embarrassment. They are ready to chat at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday when literally everyone else is asleep.
Before we move on, I want you to really let this thought sink in. Let go of perfection and just keep talking. Seriously, the biggest mistake you can possibly make on this journey is letting the fear of a tiny little grammar slip-up stop you from opening your mouth. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is judging a slightly misplaced preposition during a casual chat. Less is definitely more. Just get the words out, keep the momentum going, and keep talking.
Finally, Section 6. Your Day 1 homework. Time to start pedaling.
Listen, you can't learn to ride a bike just by watching a video about it, right? It is time to take some real action. So here is your specific challenge for Day 1. First, stand up. I mean it. Physically stand up right now. It completely changes how you project your voice and makes it feel real. Your challenge is to speak out loud in English for just 5 minutes today. Introduce yourself. Talk about your job, what you're studying, or what you do every day. Say things like, "I work as a marketing analyst," or "I'm a full-time student." And the golden rule for these 5 minutes, do not pause to translate in your head. If you get stuck on a word, just describe it and keep moving.
So, the ball is in your court. Are you ready to accept this 30-day challenge and finally start speaking? Remember, your vocal cords are muscles, and right now it's time to take them to the gym. Don't put this off until tomorrow. Do your 5 minutes today, brush off your mistakes, and then wake up and do it again tomorrow. What would happen if you actually committed to this for 30 days straight? How much could your entire life change if you finally bridged that speaking gap? Get out there, start talking, and let's find out.